Hey guys, this is PK for AtomicZebra.com, and today let's talk about forcing a card. Woohoo! Okay, so forcing a card is pretty much an essential part of card magic, but how do we usually force? I actually have 2 topics to cover and 4 points in the second topic, so I'll go over the first topic really lightly so we can get into the main topic as quickly as possible. Plus, I'm going to talk a little quicker. So, here's a tip that I always think about when setting standards on my performance. I try to please the layman me. Okay? I try to please the layman me. Okay, so I set slightly high standards for my layman self. So I have a bachelor's in physics and I am studying for my master's in accounting at the moment while living off of magic. Also, I consider myself a strong skeptic, so I take the Scully route. Okay? So, even though I wouldn't be a heckler because I try to be nice, I still try to figure things out after the trick. So I always try to either overwhelm my layman self with a barrage of sleight of hand magic, or I stick to routines where it retains a level of impossibility. So I don't want myself, my layman self, to reverse engineer the trick, which brings us to card forcing. And not all forces are created equal. Okay? That's what I think. So, there are a lot of forces. Let's think about 4 different levels of forcing. 4. Number one, a close to self-working or a mathematical force. Now, these forces are card forces that can relatively be easy to reverse engineer. Can be relatively easy, there we go, to reverse engineer. Oh, there it is. Reverse engineer. Whether it's the crosscut force, or a counting force, or a counting force, like yeah. These forces can be figured out by people either by watching the video a couple of times or just by being number savvy. So, for example, any 2-digit number flipped around and subtracting the smaller number from the larger number would give you a multiple of 9, which means you can add those 2 digits and end up with a 9. And any science, math, or engineering major can actually figure it out. So, I consider that a weak force. I don't think it should be used once you reach a certain level of magic. Alright, so number 2, the say stop force. Oh, say stop force. So wait a minute, where did I? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So the say stop force. So the riffle force, for example, say stop, riffle force. I hate this force. The slip cut force. Forces using the glide, and pretty much most timing forces rely on the spectator saying stop. I know regular people, who we would call laymen, don't care that much. But think about watching TV and seeing a magician ask a spectator to say stop. All magicians know it's a force. What would a spectator think? Well, I think it would be fair to assume that some people would think it's inconsistent. Like this and this is inconsistent. So try that on a spectator. When you ask someone without any visual cues, with nothing, just don't say anything, ask them to pick a card. Most people reach over. They try to pull out a card. So, why are we doing this? Why are we making them say stop like this? Hey, say stop. So why are we doing that? Especially when it's within arm's reach. Like if I ask these people, these guys, to say stop, that's counterintuitive, right? Now, the thing is, these forces, the say stop forces, are watertight. It's 100%. So we can't just all chuck them out the window, you know? So my suggestion is to only ask these people in the back. All right, so you can't see all of them in the camera. But yeah, I have like stormtroopers and everything here. Now these people will be able to reach and pull out a card. All right, so that's how you need to do it. But if it's someone in the back and you're trying to bring the crowd in, like, hey, you sir, in the back, how about you say stop somewhere? Or say stop, I'm gonna go, yeah, something like that. So ask someone who is out of reach, who is farther away than arm's length to say stop. Okay? I think that's a great idea, right? That's probably the only way that I think saying stop is well justified. All right, let's go to another force. Some forces rely on sleights to either switch out the card or control the situation. Easy example is the cull force, like that. Cull force, yeah. These forces are slightly better, but the spectator can't actually pull the card out themselves. You know, they can't pull it out themselves. You got to do that. And that's not the card. But it's not too much of a problem, especially if there are other factors to consider which might become important later in the trick. So it's not too bad. I concede to an extent. However, we need to think about the last force, number 4. Now this is my favorite force. Number 4 is the classic force. This is by far my favorite force. Plus, I think this is the only force that should be used. It's a little bit too extreme, but with practice, this can actually get up to 80% accuracy even with random people on the street. I should know. That's who I perform for. I perform for random people on the street all the time. And I think the classic force is the only force where the spectator can pull the card out themselves. So pull out that card, right? Yeah. That's the only force where they can actually pull it out like themselves. So it's the only force where they truly feel, besides stuff like convincing them that like you could have said stop here, you could have said stop here, but you said stop. Besides those kind of convincing pattern points, it's the only force that I think that they truly feel that they were free because they pull it out themselves. So I propose just doing the classic force for every card selection, every time. Just give yourself enough practice, and with enough practice, the classic force will and can be your only force. So like when I'm out busking, that's actually the only force that I do. I just train myself to stick with just that one force, just the classic force. And not kidding, like I can sometimes get like 5, 6 in a row. Just like classic forcing, just like non-stop, same card all the time. So, oh yeah, you can watch my routining video to see how I use that to make more magic out of the moment. So yeah, I think the classic force is the only force that we should be putting more time into, and with the classic force comes great power. So, if you have any thoughts on forcing, or if you're just fed up with having the spectator say stop, you know, doing that, leave a comment below, and maybe we can talk some more. Subscribe if you like my videos, and we can stay updated, and I'll see you in another video. Cool. Take care.